Alright everyone, it's 2 p.m. Second Life time and it is Saturday and that means it's time for our meditation talk. We often, in the last weeks, we don't talk about meditation, we talk about other things. We have talked about tarot cards, we have talked about oracle cards and angel cards. And now we're going to talk about healing. Kayla, welcome. Please take a seat. We're just about getting started. So before I introduce our guest today, we do a short heart-brain coherence meditation just to get our nerves settled down, balance our nervous system, just create a nice, warm, good atmosphere. So please sit down, find a comfortable position. Make sure you have good enough support. Close your eyes and take a nice deep inhale. And exhale and relax. Lower your shoulders, loosen your jaw. Take a good deep inhale again. And exhale and relax even more. Feel yourself getting centered. Breathe normally. And try to breathe a little slower and a little deeper than you usually would do. A little slower and a little deeper. Nice and calm. And for a moment, notice where you feel your breath the most. Is it in your nostrils or the back of your throat, your chest or your tummy? Notice where you feel your breath the most. Put your attention there. Notice how your breath goes in and out through that point. Now I want you to drop that focus point into your heart space. Focus on your heart. Put your attention there. You can even put your hand on your chest right there where your heart is. And imagine that you are breathing through your heart. Breathing in through your heart. And out through your heart. In through your heart. And out through your heart. Keep breathing through your heart. As you do that, think about something you were grateful for today. A moment in your day today that you feel grateful for. As you breathe through your heart, relive that moment one more time. Let every cell in your body vibrate with that feeling of gratitude as you breathe through your heart. Very good. Now let's slowly get back to our group. Notice the room you are in. Notice any sounds in the room. Take a good inhale and exhale and move your body back and forth and from side to side. Wiggle your fingers and toes. When you are ready, open your eyes. Just notice how you feel. Just relax for a little while. All right. Well done, everyone. This kind of meditation we do every Monday at 1 p.m. Second Lifetime. Great. So, on to today's theme. Our guest today is well known in Second Life as Aislen Atheria, and she began her career as a celebrity psychic reading for people from all walks of life to becoming a well-known healer that expanded her client base even more when people realized what the healing work could do. Her methods came from many different modalities, from psychic healing, energy healing, and shamanic healing. And Aislen offers sessions in Second Life in a group-type setting, as well as limited one-on-one sessions as the time permits. So if you want to contact her, send her an EM, an IM, ask for more information. And if we have some more contact information afterwards, I will put that on the podcast website as well. So welcome, Aislen. How are you today? Thank you for being here.
I am doing fabulous, thank you.
Great. So good to have you here. So I saw you joined in 2 weeks ago when we talked about oracle cards and angel cards. And I think it was before we started the session, you told us that you had your own healing modality or developed your own healing modality. Is that right?
That's correct. Ascended healing.
It's called Ascended Healing?
Yes.
So what does it contain, or what does it do? What does it mean?
Well, before we get into that, I think it's easier to figure out why I got into healing in the first place, to kind of figure out how this is all unfolded, because it's not just something that happened, it's been a process. And so it started actually when I was 12 years old. When I was 12, my mother handed me a book. And it was called You Can Heal Your Life by Louise L. Hay. And to this day, I still utilize this book. If you haven't read it, please check it out. This book gave me the concepts of what the brain is capable of. It started me on the path of not only liking the energy that we carry and understanding the body and the brain waves, but it also gave me the idea of the science, how the brain works, the psychology of how the brain works. And that started me on my path. So I've been on this path for a very long time. I don't just wake up one day and decide I want to be a healer and start my own modality. It literally has been a process since I was 12. I utilize the techniques in the book, just brain, that's it, just thinking. And I was able to change some things I didn't like at 12. And I put that book down until I was 19. And when I was 19, I picked up the book again. I'm like, there's something about this. Like, there's something that calls to me, something I'm supposed to do with my life. And so I became a massage therapist, which was my first training. My second training was I went to college to do Reiki. I actually went to a school that was a college for healing, which I didn't even know existed at the time. Somebody told me about it, and I was like, I'm going to college. And then from there, people would invite me to do these different modalities. It was almost like I didn't really have a choice in it because it kept finding me. And I had no interest in healing, like no interest at all in being a healer. because the Reiki to me didn't do exactly what I wanted it to do. But let me tell you what it did do. My daughter was swollen one day. Her tongue was swollen and she couldn't breathe. She was having some kind of allergic reaction. I was like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna have to take her to the hospital." And I was like, "Well, I have this Reiki tool, so let me try it. And if it doesn't work in the next 5 minutes, we have to go to the hospital." I put my hand over my daughter's mouth and I lifted it up after my hand felt really wet. It was like, "Oh, that's gross." And the swelling was completely gone. And still in my mind, that wasn't enough for me. There had to be more. There had to be a way to get rid of allergies. There had to be a way to get rid of all these ailments and mental illnesses. So it's amazing to me looking back that that still wasn't good enough. So at this time, I'm a psychic. I'm reading for television. I'm doing radio. I'm meeting celebrities. And I can't say that I was continuously being passionate about it. There kept feeling like there was something more I was supposed to do. And during this time, I'm still taking classes. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm still going to healers, but I'm still a psychic. I'm not, there's something missing. That's all I could tell you is during this time, there was something missing. As a psychic, what happens is you tell people what's going to happen based on the road that they're on right now. So there's cause and effect. If you do something, it's going to have an effect on your life. So as a psychic, you can see what a person is doing and what effect it's going to have on their life, that energy. You can change the energy. You can tell people, hey, if you don't like this, you need to do something different. This is what you could do. What I really wanted to do is ask a person, what do you want in your life? And let's get you there. As a psychic, you can't really do that. You're only seeing what's available right now at the time. So knowing all of this and all of this, my heart just opening up to what I really desire, which is to sprinkle fairy dust and have people magically heal, which is what I've wanted since I was 5. Everything came together. I studied medical qigong, and that was not intended to be used for other people. That was just something I wanted to do for myself. I studied Reiki. That was something I planned on doing for myself. I studied shamanic healing. That was something I planned on doing for myself. And one day I'm watching the news and I literally hear a voice while I'm watching this going, "You're going to do that energy healing technique that I'm watching on the news." I never thought about the name of it. I didn't continue watching the news report. I literally turned it off and that was it. 6 years later, I'm invited to take another class and I say, "No, I'm not interested. I don't want to be a healer." And this woman is like, "It's the most amazing healing I've ever had. Please just try it out." So I did. This woman did a healing on me, and something that I had an issue with my entire life disappeared within 15 minutes. Gone. And I was like, "I'm doing this class." So I go on YouTube. Remember, this is 6 years later. So I go on YouTube looking for this news. Like, what kind of healing was this again? And the kind of healing it was the news report I was watching where I heard the voice say you would do this kind of energy work. So I take the class and all of my clients convert to my psychic clients, to my healing clients, which I never thought was going to happen. I thought psychics were way more interesting than healers, which is crazy, but that's my belief system at the time. And I literally took 3 months out of my life just to heal me. And I healed pretty much everything that was wrong with me during that time frame that I really wanted to heal. I mean, a lot of stuff that I've been working on for 15 years of healing had just dissipated. So this is how my healing technique actually came about. One day I hear my guides and I have this agreement. If I hear something 3 times, then I will follow through on whatever is told to me because I've built that kind of rapport with my guides. They're not going to tell me to go hurt someone. I know that for sure. So, and if I ever did hear anything like that, I would go to the doctor and be like, "Could you see if I have a brain tumor?" You know what I mean? Because we have that kind of rapport. It's always a positive. So I heard a voice say to me, "Sit down and record." And I said, "No, I don't know what I'm going to record. Of course not." I hear it a second time, "Sit down and record." No, I'm busy. I'm doing something. Why would I just sit and record and I don't know what I'm recording? And the third time, that was our agreement. I couldn't argue. I had to sit down. I pressed record on my phone and I had no idea what I was doing. So from that point, I left my body and I started talking. I don't remember what I said. I just remember I was talking. And then something happened to my spirit. I flew back into my body and I stopped the recording. That recording is up on YouTube to this day. It's up
Were you
right now.
channeling?
I was channeling, and my energy, my healing energy, and what I was able to do at that moment completely changed. Completely changed. My healing was not the same anymore. I've had, and whatever I'm telling you right now is nothing that I claim that I can do. I'm just making that clear because I don't witness this. Other people have to tell me what they're experiencing, but I did have a woman tell me that she had cancer. And after the healing, the cancer was gone. What other technique was she using? Was it a combination of my healing plus something else she was doing? I don't know. All I know is this is the testimonial I got. And then a friend contacted me, it was years later. She was like, "Oh, my friend was telling me that you got rid of her cancer and you were so amazing. I just want to say thank you." And I'm sitting here like, "Wow, like it's real, you know?" There's people who tell me they have chronic ailments that disappear. There's people who tell me they're on depression medication for years and years and years. And after one healing, and this is not just me doing the healing, these are also my recordings. They can listen to one and they're no longer on the medication. They work with their doctors to get off of it. Um, the biggest, as much as I've had these amazing testimonials, the most, I think, impressive one to me are the ones that I used to be a smoker, and I know how hard it is to stop smoking. I smoked from 15 to 19. And I remember I would get sick, like really sick smoking. And I was like, if people had told me that you get sick, like when you get sick, you have a cold, it's not for a week, it's for 3 weeks, I would have never done this. I can't stand to be sick. And so I remember trying to quit, trying to quit, trying to quit, and I couldn't do it. And finally I did at 19. So I have these clients come to me that have been smoking for 30 years and they do one webinar with me and they're no longer smoking after that. So for me, because I understand how hard it is, to me, that's the biggest miracle I've ever witnessed as far as healing is concerned. But that's the power of the healing that I've utilized and used over time. So it's literally everything I do is a combination of everything that I've learned. Plus, I've added another aspect to that healing that has created ascended healing. So hopefully that made sense and answered your question.
Absolutely. What I find interesting is always when I talk about healing, my modality with meditation, everything like that, and manifestation is mostly about self-healing. And I, through the 20 years I'm doing this, I'm kind of witnessing two sorts of healing,
Mhm.
or two types of healers. And the first type is like, I have met healers that you obviously not that type, but I met healers that say, I don't know what's happening, I don't know what I do, I don't know what's going on, but something happens when I'm sending out this intention or this energy. Uh, I often witness those that get healed that they are so believe in the process that they actually do a form of self-healing. So the healer is more the person that is um, creating the environment where the healing can take place. And then you have healers that I think you're more in that corner, that are really putting an intention in it, sending out energy, not only creating the environment where healing can take place, but doing that little extra. And that's where the miracles take place, because you're not only creating the environment where a person can do self-healing, because the person believes in it, and it's like the extra push they need to change their bodies. But you also put that extra intention and healing energy into it. That creates that extra effect. Like you say, like you can just make a recording and you do it in such a way that there are frequencies, energies in that recording that people pick up on unconsciously and use for their own healing. What do you think about those two types of healers?
Oh, it's very, very, very true. And it's interesting that you even talk about the frequency within the healing because that's what I'm doing is I'm actually sending a frequency. And people have told me that listening to my healings, a lot of people can actually hear the frequency that I'm sending, which is incredible to me that they can actually hear the vibration because all frequencies actually have a sound, and that's what frequency is actually sound vibration. And so, they're actually hearing the sound I'm emitting from my own spiritual being, and it's, yeah, that's amazing to me, and we're all able to heal or absorb from other people. So energy vampires absorb energy from other people, right? So we all have these abilities that are already innate in us, but when we're not taught to do it, you're either the kind who can support somebody in their own healing so that they're just creating the environment so the placebo effect, people can heal themselves, or you're actually in having an intent of creating healing within a person. And that one is just super powerful because when you get to a point where you're consciously aware of what you're doing, you can change your life and heal yourself as well,
Yeah.
you know?
We have that with our Power of Eight group sessions. We have had them not for a long time now because we didn't get any nominees, but we have had group sessions here in Second Life. Power of Eight sessions. Power of Eight comes from, well, it's the name of a group session by Lynn McTaggart, and that's the power of intention. We sit in a group with up to 8 people, sometimes more, sometimes less. Doesn't really matter, and we set the intention for a person it doesn't have to be in this group. We can just have a picture of a person, and we send the intention that what we want to happen to this person already has happened. So we see that person in front of us already healed, for example, from whatever it is. Often it's cancer, sometimes other stuff. And it's amazing how this works. One time we had like an effect in within 3 hours, and it wasn't even for this person. It was for this person's boyfriend. So yeah, we had amazing effects. Just power of intention, and everybody can do this. You don't have to know the technique. Just have to know how to set an intention and use that. And even when you are with a group, I don't know if you do group healings as well. If you have other people that help you out with the healing, but when we're in a group, it gets so much more powerful.
Yeah, I do webinars, so I do a lot of group healing. Actually, my Instagram is called Group Healing. Because that's what I enjoy doing really the most because when you do group healing, it's like batteries coming together. And when you look at, some kind of machinery that only takes one little battery, it doesn't need a lot of power. But the more batteries you put into or bigger a machine is, the bigger the battery has to be. And it's like that. When you get a group together, it's like you're creating a bigger battery or you're adding batteries. And so there's so much more energy behind what it is that you're intending to do.
Correct, and you can feel it as well when you are with a group and you start to have the same feelings, emotions, and same intentions. You feel that amplitude of that energy just going through the
Mhm.
roof, really.
Yep. You really do. And people's healings are so much faster and you can feel
Absolutely.
it. It's way more intense because you can feel it physically when you have a group of people together. So that yeah, that's my absolute favorite way of tapping into the healing.
Yeah, mine too. And we don't even call it healing; we just call it intention setting. It's funny how that works. So, what do you do to prepare for healing? Or are you just? What I want to ask actually is just: do you get in a different state of being? Do you kind of meditate up front? Do
No,
you do
not
some?
anymore.
No, not
No, not
anymore.
anymore. So, the whole idea of what I do, just to kind of explain this, because when you're starting out, the best thing to do is to get into that space because you wanna know the difference between not being in that space and being in that space, and for me, at this point, it would be if I'm having a really bad day, something really negative is happening, I either need to clear that energy or not work with someone. That's the only time I actually get into a space, but I've been doing this for 20 years and studying this since I was 12. So it's getting into space is instant because I'm always in it. I'm generally almost always in it unless something has taken me out of it because of a human experience, and I'm a human, so I have human emotions and react to things. But generally speaking, the reason I've had to do so much training to get to this point of being able to do what I do is so that I can be instant because this work has to be done in an instant. If you're in a war zone, if you're in a hospital, if somebody collapsed on you, you don't have enough time to sit there and meditate. You don't have enough time to go, wow, let me do Om for an hour and then I can help you. You have to react instantly. That person is ill, that person needs help. You have to react. And I will give you an experience of that. I was young, so I was super like new to this whole healing thing, maybe 6 years in. And I had just moved to LA and I had a really bad feeling about where I was going. It just didn't feel right, and I kept getting the messages, "Don't go, don't go, don't go," and I didn't listen, and this is why I trust my guides because I've not listened enough to learn to listen. So, my daughter and I walk outside the house we were staying with a friend of ours, and as soon as we walk out of the house, something happened and my mind couldn't comprehend what happened. All I saw was, "Oh, there's laundry flying up into the air." And what really happened was a woman was walking down the street in her walker or walking across the street in her walker. She was about in her 80s and she got hit by a car. And we witnessed it, but my mind couldn't comprehend that. So she hits the car, goes down on the ground, and I was like, I need to help her and I need to do it now. And I was like, if there's a divine power, if there's a divine energy, I need help and I need that help now. And I started working on her and she's crying and she's like, "Oh, oh." And all of a sudden, it took me about 2 or 3 minutes and I finally could speak and I said, "Are you in pain?" And she goes, "Oh, no, I'm just scared." Her pain completely dissipated, completely disappeared. And, I didn't tell anybody what I was doing. I just stayed silent until the paramedics came, but I remember her son came out and thanked me later for what I did. I what he saw was that I was just sitting with her and had my hands on her. I don't know if he realized that I was doing healing work or not live because,
Well, yeah, that's
you don't have time to get into a space in that moment, and so therefore, I have to always be on in case anybody needs me. So that's what all these years and years and years of training has been about, really.
or it comes natural. Like you get in that state when you see somebody in pain.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't get into the state of healing, I had to ask. I had to ask. That's when I had to set my intention to whatever needs to channel through me if my guides are around. Anybody, because I was freaked out. Like, I literally was like, "I'm useless to this woman unless somebody can help me." At this point in my life, because I went through that one experience and because I've trained myself, I am able to act without necessarily calling upon anything else and being like, "I'm helpless without it." So, like, that's the whole thing about, like, a firefighter finally, being they practice and then they get into the fires and they're not number 1, they're not the leader. They're behind because you have to get used to the shock. You have to get used to what to do, make sure you're always making the right move so you don't die or you're not killing somebody else and you can save somebody who might be in a house. So everything really comes down to training and doing something repetitively and doing it over and over again. Like a lot of people, and I was one of those people, just expect to go into a class and that's it. I'm a healer, I can heal you. And it doesn't necessarily work that way. Some people are extraordinary and they can do a thing here or two here with a certain person and heal them and then nothing else happens. Or some people can right out the gate, they're like, this is my modality, this is what I'm meant to do, and it just works. But for most people, there is a training, there is a mindset, I'm meant to not only change my life, but help massive amounts of people change theirs. And that does take work. It takes learning, it takes not learning how not to scare people. You don't want to scare people with what you're seeing because I've seen some things in people's bodies and I'm like, we're not going to go there. We're just going to figure out how to heal it and learning how to communicate. Like a lot of my healing doesn't even require that I project energy or necessarily even an intention. Sometimes just listening to what you have to say, I know what your block is. I know why you're having the problems that you're having. I know what mindset is doing it. All I have to do is give you that information, and you, with that awareness, will heal. And I'll tell you why. The brain processes very simply. The conscious mind can only process 2,000 bits of information per second. 2,000. The subconscious mind is processing in the background like a computer 2 billion bits of information per second. So if your subconscious mind is running all these programs, it's dictating your life. That's why a lot of people will come to me and be like, I kept texting him when I knew I shouldn't have, and I couldn't stop myself. I knew I wasn't supposed to do this thing and I couldn't stop myself. I don't know why I did it. I knew it was a bad idea because your subconscious mind is in control. When we bring your conscious mind in control and we have the subconscious mind kind of sit back and relax for a little bit and we start healing traumas and we start healing the programs that you got, things start to change. So a lot of times it's just through talking and awareness that you change. And I had to be schooled in that. I had to be educated. And what are you saying to me that I need to pay attention to? Because everything you say to me, you're telling me something deeper. You're telling me a subconscious belief system. And that's all of us, every last one of us.
That's exactly what we do with transformational meditation as well. We make people aware of their subconscious programming. And if people that are like 35 years old or older, they are running an automatic program almost all of the time. They're going on autopilot. And like you said, they're texting their exes without even thinking about it. Like, oh, afterwards they think I shouldn't have done that. Or yeah. So to become aware that you are going subconscious, or become conscious that you're going subconscious, is just a very important step into that transformational process, and also in healing, of course.
Yeah, it's a very powerful just to have awareness. And it doesn't always work. Awareness doesn't always work, but it's the first part of healing. If you can bring
Mm.
somebody into awareness, it's easier to get the energy, you know, in there and start doing some major healing work. And it's funny because I have people who really don't understand this work. They're like, "Well, I had a good childhood. I don't have any traumas." And I'm like, "Listen, we all have traumas. When I was 2 years old, if I wanted ice cream for breakfast and I asked my mother, "Can I have ice cream for breakfast? Give me ice cream." And my mother said no, I would have been traumatized thinking she doesn't love me because she doesn't want me to have the good stuff. Why don't you want me to have the things that I enjoy in life? And so therefore I would be traumatized. And it's funny to even think about that, but that's how little kids think. Like at that point in our lives, we don't have the capability to think like an adult. So we automatically go into, if you don't give me something that I love and enjoy, then you don't love me versus, look, it's not really healthy. We shouldn't be eating it all the time.
Mm.
So we
Correct.
all have these traumas, and that literally experience like that could literally lead you to believe that your mother doesn't love you for the rest of your life because the way the brain processes information is from 6 years old, you're primarily in a theta state. And when you're in a theta state, any information that comes in that moment is actually brought in as a program. So there's no, "Oh, that was just a joke." That doesn't happen in the theta state. It's real in your mind. And so therefore, like I like to tell my clients all the time, if you're, 4 years old and a 2-year-old comes up to you and says you're ugly because they heard their brother say it, their teenage brother say it, they don't know what they're saying, but you believe from that moment on you're ugly. So you could be $20 million per year as a model. And when you look in the mirror, you still think you're ugly and not understanding why people are paying you that. It's
That's
it's
so true.
so it's so wild how the brain works. It's
Mm.
fascinating, it's amazing, we're extraordinary because of it, but it's a downfall when you start realizing that when they hook up your brain to electrodes and they're watching your brain on a monitor, if I blew a dog whistle, you wouldn't hear it, but, it will show that your brain actually picked up on that sound. So you're processing arguments you can't hear in the next room by your parents or while you're sleeping. You're processing the arguments that are happening down the street by your neighbors. You're processing the TV that's on in the next room, even though you don't hear it. Your brain still does. So all the commercials, all the shows, all the movies come in as a program. And I want you to think about what that means. Because if you look at movies, like especially romantic movies, there's all movies, because I've worked in Hollywood as a producer, all movies have to have a structure. So you have to have the beginning, the middle, the end. Well, in the middle, you have to have some kind of conflict. So when it comes to relationships, the conflict is he cheated on me. He doesn't want to be with me. I'm afraid of love. All these negative things have to happen for you to get to the good ending. So we're watching this, we're listening to this, we're sleeping, and somebody else is watching it, and it's being programmed that love is a negative. It has to be tragic. Something bad has to happen, or something good can happen. And so therefore, we actually experience that in reality. So a lot of times when I'm doing my healing work, I actually have to clear like the fairy tale mentality for people to actually find love, which I love
Hmm.
doing. But when you start looking at how much programming is there, you really realize how much healing is valuable. It just is.
Where I live, there are a lot of people who are afraid to get confronted with themselves. Do you experience that too? Like
Oh,
sometimes you have to talk.
I'm
Yeah,
afraid
go
to
ahead.
get confronted with myself. Forget everybody else. I still go through that. I have a healer that I work with, and as much as I believe in self-healing, and I do think we all should be figuring out our own gifts, and somebody else said they feel like they have their gifts. And you do. You do have a gift. But our brains, the way it works, it actually will only let you get so far because it's there to keep you safe. If you have a program that you really feel I'm going to die because the other side of that is unknown, that's going to kill me, your brain will actually shut off how far you can go on your own. So I always have a healer or something that I work with. And it makes sense because we're pack animals. We're not meant to be here alone. People who are alone go crazy. Literally, their minds can't comprehend it. Just like monkeys, same thing. So we're pack animals, so we do need help, we do need support, we do need coaches, whoever you need. A book is even support enough. So for me, when I work with my healers, there's times where my healing partner, because sometimes we do dual healings together, will hear that I'm having an issue and, oh, we need to work on that. And I don't want to see it. I don't want to deal with it. I'm afraid of that. I feel very uncomfortable even talking about it. And she's like, good. So now it's time to heal it. And I know enough for myself to go, okay, I'm so uncomfortable right now. And I really just want to hang up on you, but we're going to do this. So I have my support team that goes, no, see, I have two healers. So the other one we go to, we do it as a group. And we'll do, if I'm doing any kind of intensive work where I'm like, look, I have a problem, I want to get rid of this and I want to do it in the next 3 months. If it's a big issue like you've had for years, um, you want to do a 3 month intensive because it takes about 3 months for you to shift your whole entire life, like literally multiple areas of your life. So we'll go to my other healer and I will tell her, I don't want to tell him. I don't want to tell him the problem. It's embarrassing or I don't like the way I feel about this. And she will tell him for me and he starts laughing. He's like, let's do this. But I know how people feel when they don't want to look at themselves because it feels so dark and scary at the time because you're living through whatever it is. It's not it's not new. Or sorry, it's not old. Even if it was 20 years old, it's not old because you're living it in the moment. It feels like it's happening in the next. And so I know what that's like when people want to run away from themselves, but it's not worth it. It's not worth what you're going to go through. It's not worth the pain, suffering that you're going to experience during your whole entire life just because you don't want to look at it for 30 seconds.
Hmm.
And it usually
Correct.
takes about that long to heal a trauma. It's about 30 seconds to a minute. And so um I just know from my own experience I'd rather look at it for 30 seconds to, but even the times that I don't and my human conscious or subconscious takes over, I have my healing group to go, no, we're doing that.
Hmm.
So I'm glad that you're doing this with everybody else because it's like here's a support group, you know, it helps.
That's what surprised me today with you is that you say, okay, yeah, I have a group, I have people that support me, and that's so important. Not, and I think it's. I never heard that before from a healer. Like I have my support group. Not often they say I have my guides but they also have their human support group. They have other healers that help them out. I think that's fascinating. I think it's the way to go. And it's the same with meditation. In Norway, where meditation is a bit of a taboo, you do it alone, and people get in trouble for it because they have nobody to talk to. They experience things they need to talk about, and they go crazy afterwards. So support is, I think, it's very important.
It is really important. And I took that stance and that path because I don't want to be rude to anybody. I don't want to say anything negative to anybody, but I have to be honest. And I'm not a huge fan of a lot of psychics. And the
Mm,
reason I'm not a fan is because a lot of times what you'll experience with a psychic is that they're sharing with you what they see plus their opinion. So I have very
Hmm.
limited amount of psychics I go to, and the psychics that I go to are the ones who can step out of themselves to tell you what they need to tell you. And I'll just give you a short example of this. I was doing a major radio show, and somebody called in and said, I have a husband and I have a lover. What should I do? And people, were writing in about, oh, that's just immoral. That's wrong. That's none of my business. You didn't come to me to judge you. You came to me to give you true answers. You need help because you're not living a life that feels good. And what came to me is, listen, there's nothing you have to do for the next 2 months. In the next 2 months, you will figure it out because something is going to be forced upon you. It needs to happen this way. And you're going to get some realizations on why you're doing what you're doing right now. There's nothing you have to do other than allow it to wait for 2 months. That's it. And a
Mm.
lot of people wouldn't tell you that because morally you're wrong. You were married. You should just choose your husband. And no, that was not the best path for her, nor her husband, nor her lover. And I knew that. And so I had to be honest with what spirit was saying to me without putting my own 2 cents in. Because I've trained myself not to judge people when it comes to readings and when it comes to healings. I had a friend who had a dog who was like severely ill, and my guides came in and said there is a medicine that they need to go to the vet to get, and this is what it's called. And I was able to hear that information, listen to it, relay that information with no judgment. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but this is what I'm hearing. I have to share it with you. She went and asked for the medication, and it was a real medication, and I was like tripping, like, what? Really? But I over the years, it didn't happen overnight. This is why I've studied so much, and why I've done so much over the years, is because I needed to get to a place where I'd be a non I can get to a place where it doesn't matter what you tell me. The only thing that matters is what is the answer and what is the best way to deal with it. My judgment cannot get in the way of your healing. And so you have these healers and you have these psychics who get in the way of your progression. And the way that they're doing this is by they stop. They heal themselves, they learn by themselves, and then they stop. You can only take somebody so far at that point. I'm continuing to take classes. I will always be a student. I will always listen to my guides, and I will always get healings so that I can help my clients because I want to take them as far as I can. And that should be until the day I die. I should be growing and learning because otherwise they're just going to be surpassing me and trying to find somebody else. So I don't want
That's
to be a person who's harming. I want to be a person who's truly helping.
that's so correct. Continuously you have to learn new things, uh, dive deeper into the things you already do. Would you say this is like a part of uh, go, coming going along with the rest of humanity? Because we're all growing, isn't it? We're all getting better. We're all getting more, I would say, almost enlightened or more conscious of what we do.
Most of us, yeah, I think most of us are, just wisdom with age. I have a lot of friends and people who say, I wish I was 20 again. I was like, I would never want to be 20 again. And they're like, but I look so great. And I'm like, you know what? It doesn't matter if I'm old, wrinkled, and my hair is completely white. I would rather have the wisdom because life is so much
Mm.
easier when you have the wisdom. And I've had some clients over the years and people that I've just met who their life actually gets worse as they get older. It's like they are learning less because their traumas dictate how they think and how they feel. So they're actually not getting more. But that's where I feel like my role in life is that through collective consciousness, the true essence of the consciousness, there's not a lot of people who are connected to it. And so when I expand my consciousness and I work with my clients to expand their consciousness, it has a ripple effect. It will literally affect
Mm.
your family. Your family will become better or they will move out of the way and allow another family to come. They always either leave or get better. Only way that
Yeah.
it is. And then you attract something beautiful. And then you attract your crowd and you all are expanding your consciousness together. It expands your neighbor's consciousness and so on and so forth. It literally has a ripple effect. So the only way that
Yes.
I can truly, truly heal this planet is to truly heal myself. Period.
Mm. Yeah. It almost, I would say, it always begins with yourself, and that ripple effect you're talking about. That's true. You attract people in your life that you need to attract, and you work with them and grow together. All right, thank you so much. Are there any questions? I already saw a question about the book, and of course that was answered. The book that with which it all started for Aislen, it was "You Can Heal Your Life" by Louise Hay.
Yes.
So that's the book. Yeah. Any other questions? Anthony is wondering if you could maybe teach us something we can do at home.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do at home. Let me see which would be the best. Hmm. Well, you all already work with meditation, so let's go with that one. So, one of the tools that I like to use when I need to become more enlightened, and what that means is that when you become more enlightened, you know where you're supposed to be and when you're supposed to be there, even if you don't know why. You just listen. Like, I feel like I'm supposed to leave the house. I feel like I'm supposed to stay home. You'll have the phone ring and it's the right person offering you something, right? And back in the day before we had cell phones, you would get that message to stay home. You would have got the perfect phone call and you'd be like, wow, my whole entire life just changed because of that phone call. Um, if you talk to a lot of famous like actors and stuff like that, they'll tell you that they just had a feeling to do this one thing and everything worked out because of it. There was a new movie role or they got famous or whatever it was, they got what they wanted. So for me, it would be about teaching you how to get into that space for you to get your true heart's desire. And that's not necessarily what you want, because a lot of times we want something, we get it, and we realize it didn't really do what we thought it was going to do. And we're like, oh, we don't want that anymore. So to really get rid of that whole scenario of trying things out and seeing if that's what you really want, we go straight for the heart's true desire. Okay, that's what the spirit wants. Why are you here? What are you here to experience? Whether it be your love life, a certain amount of money, your career choice, children, what is your heart's true desire? You don't always know what it is until it happens. So how do we get into the space to create from that place of divine, right? Our divine true essence. So all you have to do is close your eyes. And just breathe. Feel your lungs fill up with air. Feel your lungs release. And then I want you to connect to what we call the third eye, the place right above your eyebrows, right in the middle. And whether you see it or not, it's just the intention that you need is to see your future self. 5 years into the future, 10 years into the future, whatever feels right, just see yourself in the future. Now, the intention is to clean and clear the space between the present moment and 5 or 10 years into the future. Any blocks, any subconscious belief systems, what you want getting in the way of what you truly desire, you're just going to let it fall down to the ground. For me, the visual is like dice, just having dice fall to the ground. No longer playing the game of chance. We are playing the game of being on purpose. Now that those blocks are released, you allow yourself from the future come into the self and the present. If it's a disease you have, then see yourself being healed in the future and bringing it into the present moment. All that wisdom, all that love, all the enlightenment, everything that you desire within that time frame is now within you in the current moment. Now every day is just an expression of that. As you watch all the amazing things unfold, it's just an expression. What I love about this is there's so many of us that have this idea that I'll be happy when I make $1 million. I'll be happy when I own my own home. I'll be happy when I buy a new car. I'll be happy when I'm in love. And the truth is that all you have to do is think about those things and you start to feel happiness. You start to feel joy. There's nothing outside of you that will ever bring more to you than what you can bring to yourself in the present moment when it comes to happiness. So, what you've done is you've just embodied happiness, which is going to move you forward to create whatever you want in your life, whatever your spirit wants in life. So, you want to end this with a smile. That's your gratitude for everything you're about to create, is that smile. Now, my question to you, and I do need your permission to do this, and if I don't have your permission, it will not be sent to you, but do I have permission to hold space for you to create your heart's true desire and send the energy to expand that right now? For anybody who types in yes, I will do this for you now.
Now just say yes as well.
I wonder if there's anybody else that's feeling that. My whole body started vibrating. That was awesome. Yes, I can repeat that. I was asking if anybody was okay or who was okay with me setting my intention in my space and holding space for you to create your heart's true desire and sending energy to that. I work with people, and when we start getting rid of the traumas and the negativity, the positivity normally just it comes in by itself. That's your natural state of being. And so we work then on what is it that you really want to create in your life, you know? And I'll set the intention, I'll set the space, and I'll hold space for them. And I want it more than they do, which makes me the best coach ever because I truly want you to be happy. I truly want to know what your successes are and celebrate with you. And so I know I have to hold this intention bigger than they are holding it in themselves. And it's just a miracle how fast they start creating the lives that they want.
Mm,
So I wanted to give you that same energy.
beautiful.
And then I think somebody else had a question too.
Yes. Arena, you had a question. Do you want to type it or do you want to open your microphone? Arena is asking if you can heal senses
And what does that mean to you? Explain that one.
like sight, hearing, or taste.
Um, I have not had to work with anybody who had like hearing issues, but I had ear surgery as a child. And so I lost a little bit of hearing in both of my ears. And I had went to my shamanic healer. She actually did shamanic hypnotherapy, which is extraordinary. And she was able to heal the ear that I was having issues with the most. So I haven't had to deal with that. I haven't had the opportunity yet to heal that, but I know that it can be healed just because I've had that experience from another healer. Um, Eyesight has gotten better because I've done that for myself, where my glasses started to improve, so I had to get a bunch of glasses because my eyesight kept getting better. It hasn't been instant as far as that goes. A lot of the healing that I do is instant, and some of it is over time. Uh, Taste, I haven't had an opportunity to heal that because I don't know anybody who lost their taste buds, you know? Uh, most people can feel, so I haven't had an opportunity to deal with that, and most people can smell. Although I have done healing work where people get a heightened sense of smell, so I guess that would be a yes as far as smell goes. Yeah. Oh, you can't. That would be something to work on then. That would be exciting. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, and I've witnessed people with self-healing getting their eyesight back. I got better eyesight through meditation, basically. Uh, I've seen the weirdest things with intention setting, or not the weirdest things. It's actually natural. We just perceive it as being weird, because it's not in our belief system, or in most people's belief system. Dawn, you asked about a Facebook group. I think it was the Instagram group, wasn't it?
My
Or did you have
Instagram,
Facebook? Yeah,
I have both.
both.
This is
Okay.
Instagram is group healing.
Copying that. I want to follow you too, you know.
Awesome. And then my Facebook group. I wasn't really going to share any of this information just because it's nice to be incognito in Second Life. But, if you guys are really drawn to this, there's no reason not to. So let me post my Facebook group.
Dawn says only if you like.
There you go.
Shouldn't
Well,
shouldn't feel the
and
pressure.
and just out of transparency and just being honest with everybody, I'm pretty well known in the real world. not that I have millions of followers or anything, but my client base and word of mouth and the celebrities that I work with and so on and so forth. So I don't like give out my number because I've had so many people pulling on my energy. I don't always check my email because I have so many people pulling on my energy that coming to the SL is really nice just to get to kind of know people and work on them here, one on one just for a little while and then be able to go back into doing my SL. So it's just been SL has been a really nice balance to get away from people who are just pulling on me. So as long as we can just
Mm.
have a respectful, I am me if you need anything. I'm open from these hours on SL. The rest of the time I'm running around naked having fun. Then we're good. I just need to have some of my SL time, just my space because SL's sorry, my real life is really, really hectic
Well, I
as
can
far as
promise
it
you one
goes.
thing.
Hmm.
The people that sit here and that join us regularly, they're all awesome,
That's so
respectful,
cool. I
loving, warm-hearted people.
and I feel safe. And this is the reason why I'm just like, I can do this. I feel safe giving you all my information. So it feels good, or I wouldn't have done it. But I do like to be transparent because, I like having healthy boundaries. But, write me as much as you want on Facebook, get into my group, follow me on Instagram, write me on Instagram. When I have my time and I'm available, I will definitely get back to it.
Great.
Answer any questions, or if you decide you want to sign up for an appointment. Like I said, I don't get back to everybody immediately because I have hours, but you are a priority when I turn on the I'm at work switch.
Correct. All right, let me see. Are there any more questions?
It's interesting. I want to share really quick because we're in SL. I I'm a workaholic and I can't stop working. My joy in life since I was 5 is thinking about how I can heal people. And for me, again, like I mentioned before, it was like being a fairy, sprinkling fairy dust on people, and they're just magically healed. As an adult, I realized there's more realistic ways of doing this, but I've always been a workaholic. I would not take days off for 16 years. And I got into SL. And within my first month, I realized how valuable it was to take time off and that I couldn't be a workaholic the same way I was anymore. I'm still a workaholic, but it's different. And through the years of being on a cell and meeting people and having fun and building and being able to be creative again, I have just in this last month, I've decided to take 2 days off per week. So on Sundays and Mondays, I actually take off now in the last month. And that will be for the rest of my life where I'll have at least 2 days off. And it's been an extraordinary experience. So SL and people like you have actually taught me how valuable my energy is. And as I get older, that I need to keep some of it for myself. When you're younger, you could do that. When you're older, not so much. So yeah, I'm giving gratitude to SL and the people in SL because that's been an extraordinary learning experience.
It's a great environment to be in and absolutely important to take care of yourself. Uh, you know what they say in the airplanes when the oxygen mask comes down. Help yourself first before you help others.
Yep.
It's the same here as well. Awesome. Aislen, thank you so much for joining us today. It was an exciting and very interesting conversation. I love the work you do and love the way you do it as well with the group support, um, the healing, the psychic readings. Really, thank you for sharing
Thank
your
you.
knowledge. Thank you for sharing your energy. Thank you for that beautiful meditation as well. So I hope to see
You're
you back
very
soon again
welcome.
as well.
Namaste.
All right. Namaste. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone. Take good care. Thank you for joining.